Bless this our land and nation. Justice be assured.
The gear of going a little bit into what you have been doing in South Africa, I see you are into distillation, and you make gin, and what else you make? Vodka,
we do that.
And also I've seen that your company is right now importing Tusker, a very famous Kenyan beer, into South Africa. To tell us a little bit more about that area, because you are still in finance and you're now a distiller, you know.
I like that it's predominantly white, and I like disruption. I like causing some disruption. So I said, okay, this thing, even us, we can do this. You know, like I'm a firm believer in doing what is not being done, bringing change. And I felt that I needed to do change. And I can tell you, the first time we had a meeting of Liquor Brand Owners Association in Johannesburg. I went there, and one white guy actually called me and gave me an order of what to bring. You know, bring me Casolite and bring me this and this and this, because I happened to be the only black person who was there. The others were waiters and the manager. And I like that space. I like space where you're pushing the borders, you're pushing the boundaries, and you're doing things that are different. I'll tell you, here in Cape Town, you consume 40% of our products.
Wow, that's
huge. Like every week we send you 2 trucks.
You, there's a nation, together you and I, and the glory of Kenya, the food of...
Jambo, welcome to Diaspora TV SA, where we discuss issues to do with socio-economic affairs and politics and Kenyan welfare in South Africa. Today we are really privileged to have one of our businessmen from Kenya who is treated in Johannesburg by the name Mr.JB Maina, well known by many folks as Mr.B. Karibu.
Asante.
Yeah, I would like to welcome Mr.B to introduce himself. I can't agree more to his bio. The man is well versed with knowledge and experience, and I really wish to give him this time to really introduce himself and tell us who he is.
Thank you very much, PK, for having me.
Yes.
First, let me start by giving my condolences to the Kenyan who was killed here in Cape Town.
Yes.
Condolences to the family, and may the hand of God just give them peace. Who is Mr. B? My name is James Maina Bernard.
All right.
And also Kagwe.
Okay.
I'm originally from Nakuru.
Okay.
Went to Menengai High School.
Okay.
Then I'm a graduate of Siriba College. Now it's called Maseno University. I'm also a graduate of Uganda Matthias University, and also I'm a graduate of West University Business School.
Wow, that's a lot.
And I'm still in school. I'm studying. Currently, I'm studying winemaking.
Wow. So you are doing distillation. When mtu akamunywesho.
Kairas.
All right. Well, I went through your bio, and your career, your profession gravitate in between microfinance and distillation.
Yes.
Could you just take us through that journey, and also how you came to South Africa?
Right.
Yes.
Let's start with microfinance.
Yes.
I'm a kind of a person who likes solving problems, and in particular, community problems.
Yes.
And some time back in Kenya, we had just very few banks. Okay. We had big banks, National Bank, Barclays Bank, Standard Bank. And it was very difficult to get financial services there. Even to open a bank account, you needed something like 10,000, 20,000 Kenya shillings as a minimum deposit.
Yes.
And therefore, a lot of people in Kenya at that time were excluded from financial services. And what I did with other people is we tried to look for ways of bridging that gap. Yeah. And so we did a lot of work with saccos to grow them. I played a very key role in expansion of indigenous banks. Okay. You Equity Bank, you Family Bank. Yes. Actually, I literally took Equity Bank into Southern Rift.
Oh.
I would go there and you would apply for a loan from me, and I had the forms. I could open an account for you. I had the numbers, and I would process your process your loan.
Yes.
So the agricultural product that they're using now
Yes.
is something I designed.
So-
So I also worked in northern Kenya with Lewa Conservancy
Okay.
to promote village banking
Yes.
in those areas. So apart from that, I've also done a lot of work in mobile money.
Okay.
I think I was there when a cell phone was used for the first time to conduct a financial transaction.
Okay.
You know, your e-wallet, your M-Pesa.
Yeah.
Just before the first one. Sometimes Kenya, we say we're the first people to use to use a telephone to send money through M-Pesa.
Yes.
But actually, the first one was GCash in the Philippines.
On the same point, I saw on your bio that you are part of the working committee organized by the World Bank, where in terms of e-money.
Yeah, in the development of electronic money.
Okay.
So the World Bank had a working committee and happened to have been a big participant in that. We met in New York.
Yes.
And just to lay down the background and, you know, all the structures. So when I see somebody send money to me via e-wallet or
You are happy about it because it's something that you crafted. You are part
or
of it.
M-Pesa,
Yes.
I say, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
And that is what actually brought me here. I worked very closely to expand M-Pesa in Kenya, very closely with Safaricom.
Yes.
And therefore, when Vodacom decided that they're going to start M-Pesa here,
Yes.
so then I was requested if I can come and provide support. So that's why I wasn't coming here.
Okay.
I came to do that.
Yeah. Something I think you have you haven't mentioned. You are a family man.
Yes,
And
I'm married
You are Christian.
to one woman.
All
and I'm
right,
Christian.
that's beautiful. Okay, now on the still on your bio, I saw that you are part of pioneers, the people who started Harambee Sacco, a sacco that is based in South Africa. Yeah, tell us more about it.
I've had a lot of experience in the sacco movement.
Yes.
Remember, we have a sacco. Even now, I'm still a member of a sacco in Kenya called Ebony Sacco.
Yes.
That enables people to acquire land to build houses.
Okay.
And I'll tell you one thing, that it's very difficult for people or communities to improve their livelihood.
Yes.
When they have no access to financial services, when they don't even have control to financial services.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, even here in South Africa, one of the reasons why there's a lot of poverty among the black South Africans is because they do not control the financial sector. It's controlled by some other people.
Malema always says,
Malema
says
so
that there's that economic balance.
Until the black people will have their own banks, then there will still be a problem. There will still be a problem because you need a financial institution that understands your background.
Yeah.
You know. So when I came here and I saw the way Kenyans were suffering, I realized that there was a need to build a sacco.
Okay.
Sasa nikaita a few people.
Yes.
Wengine wako Botswana, wengine wako kila mahali, and we built Harambee Sacco.
Harambee Sacco.
Yes. So it's doing very well.
Okay.
It's giving loans. It has been giving loans. I think there are almost 200 people there.
Yes. And
the whole vision of Harambee Sacco is to convert it into a mutual bank. So it's not just a Sacco. We are going for a mutual bank. And once we do a mutual bank, then we can be able to even do e-money. The market for e-money that M-Pesa wanted to develop here, that market is still there. That need is still there. And so if we can develop Harambee into a mutual bank, then tutafanya M-Pesa yetu hapa.
Okay, well, shifting the gear or going a little bit into what you have been doing in South Africa, I see you are into distillation. Yeah. And you make gin.
Yes.
And what else? You make vodka?
Well, we do vodka.
And also I've seen that your company is right now importing Tusker, a very famous Kenyan beer, into South Africa.
Yeah.
To tell us a little bit more about that area? Because you are still in finance and you're now a distiller, you know. There is
I would say that my professional is in microfinance.
Yes.
But I have a hobby in distillation.
Okay.
I like making things.
Yes.
When I'm not very busy, I like creating something.
Yes.
And that led me to distillation. And the act of distillation is something that's very, very interesting.
Okay.
It's very interesting to make alcohol.
Yeah. It's good. It's a refreshment after work.
And there is a need, and I felt, look, that is a sector that is predominantly white. And I like disruption. I like causing some disruption. So I said, okay, this thing, even us, we can do this. You know, like I'm a firm believer in doing what is not being done. Okay. Bringing change.
Yes.
And I felt that I needed to do change. And I can tell you the first time we had a meeting of Liquor Brand Owners Association in Johannesburg. Okay. I went there, and one white guy actually called me and gave me an order of what to bring. You know, bring me Casolite and bring me this and this and this, because I happened to be the only black person who was there. The others were waiters and the manager. Okay. And I like that space. I like space where you're pushing the borders, you're pushing the boundaries, and you're doing things that are different. Okay. I'll tell you, here in Cape Town, you consume 40% of our products. Wow, that's huge. Like every week we send you 2 trucks. You know, we supply to about 150 stores here, and 80 of them are tops, including your top.
In observatory. All right. Just expanding on that, I would like you maybe to tell us, when you are in manufacturing industry and you're in such an industry, what value do you bring to the economy? And the reason I'm saying this is that I want to remove the notion that foreigners are coming into South Africa to get jobs. And the reason I'm saying this is very profound. You're in manufacturing. You are creating jobs. And if you look at the ripple effect of what you're doing, you are in manufacturing, that's one. And then you're into distribution, and you're into marketing. All these are chain, and these are chain, employees, and create value into the value addition into the economy. Please tell us more about it.
Yeah, of course we create jobs.
And more, you're an African.
At the factory we have about 20 people that are working there. Okay. In the field, including here, we have about 100 South Africans. Yes. They're predominantly blacks. Okay. And they're only 2 whites. Okay. So out of 100 people, 98 of them are black people that are putting food on the table. Yes. And some of them, like our reps in Soweto, they have even created other jobs. You know, they have employed, he has employed the wife, he has employed the nephew, the brother, you know, the same with our rep in Tembisa, the same in other places. So yes, we're creating jobs. So we are not just here as economic migrants, we're investors, and we're creating jobs. And jobs to South Africans.
Jobs to South Africans. That's a point that, it's a very important point that, and I hope South African government and the relevant institution should recognize what you're doing in this economy. Just to, the narrative has been wrong all along, that the foreigners, more so the African, are always coming here to look for jobs. But look what you have done. It's a commendable job. And thank you so much for that.
And maybe on the same chapter, there's some work we are doing. There's a Chamber of Commerce called Kenya South African Chamber of Commerce, led by Moffat Danji. Okay. And what we're doing there is promoting business cooperation between Kenyan businesses and South African businesses. Wow. You know, just to see where can we learn from each other. Yes. Right.
Okay. Just now narrowing down into the issue of Kenyans, the welfare. Remember diaspora.
You talked about Tusker.
Yeah, Tusker. Oh, we haven't spoken about Tusker. Wow. Tell us more about Tusker. Paul and Ingesahau.
Yeah. Tusker was a journey. Okay. Tusker was a journey. Ilikuwa ni safari ndefu ambayo imechukua kama I would say 8 years. Okay. From the first email we wrote to Kenya Breweries saying we would want to distribute you here. Yes. And South African brewery said no. Look, you need to understand this. Remember, there was a very big war between Casso and Tusker in Kenya.
And they were in somewhere in Thika.
Yes,
they had,
in Thika.
Yes.
And what you need to understand is that South African breweries is partially owned by Diageo.
Okay.
Diageo partly owns Kenya breweries. So in essence, these were siblings that were fighting, misbehaving and fighting.
There were subsidiaries?
No, they are siblings.
Okay.
They share ownership.
Okay, all right.
Through Diageo.
Oh, Diageo, okay.
So the Diageo came up with this policy where one brewery owned by Diageo cannot take its product to another market where there is a Diageo brewery without the permission of that one. Okay? So that was the situation. And what happens here is, when I came here, I had stories why Tusker cannot be sold here. I heard that there's somebody who has registered a trademark and so many things, you know. And as I told you, I like pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
And I said, now why? Why can't it be sold here?
Yeah.
And I embarked on that journey. And I met that resistance of South African brewery saying no. And we hit a rock. And so what happens is I had to approach Diageo itself, their father, their owner. And I did here in Cape Town, Stellenbosch, and that's why I like this town.
It's beautiful. So we have different weather.
It's a big market for us, and this is where also a lot of my things have been done. So we start with Diageo here, and we agreed, yes, let's give it a shot. So South Africa Brewery then accepted, and then we had to go through the process of shipping it here. Apparently, it was very expensive to ship it by ship. So we had to use the road. And when it was coming by road, it was smooth from Kenya, Tanzania, it was smooth. But when it reached Zambia, then the Zambia guy said, no, hakuna pombe inatokaga Kenya inaenda South Africa. Pombe inatokaga South Africa inaenda Kenya.
They haven't seen
They said this one is not passing.
Okay.
So the truck was there for almost a year, I mean a week. But then through the intervention of the High Commission, we were able to get the truck through.
Okay.
So yeah, finally we got Tusker here, and it's a variable here. It's
I must say
the biggest market is again here.
It's in Cape Town.
You the people that are drinking that thing.
It's retailing for a 6-pack is about 210.
Yes.
And for a can is 40 rand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
is it? Something 39.
I'm not sure how much this.
I've bought. I'm a consumer of alcohol, so I've always bought a few Tusker.
Yeah, but it's worth it. It's a fine product.
You know, it's Kenyan made. Every time I'm in Kenya, I always take Tusker. I love Tusker, and it just reminds you it make you be nostalgic about your country. Yeah. So it's always good, and you have done a commendable job, and thank you so much, Mr.B.
Thank you.
That's really you're daring. I must say you're daring. You are one of those Kenyans who are daring, venturing into this market and really fighting with the big boys, because I'm sure your competitors are not. They are quite massive financially and in terms of market share. Yeah. Well, shifting and narrowing down into the topic today, I want us to briefly, I've seen that you love socio and cultural activities and things to do with Kenyans. And I've seen that you are part of Mwaki wa Azania.
Yes, sir.
Are you a patron or you are a member?
Among the founding members.
Founding members.
Yes.
Just briefly tell us and what it's all about. I know there are things you're not allowed to speak much, but just tell us, and for you to recruit new members. And actually, we were talking with Alan, what you have started in Joburg. Joburg always will be our big brother, and then before the other things come down here. Are you planning to expand membership to Western Cape and recruit members? Yeah, just take us through the explanation of what is Azania, Mwaki wa Azania.
This is the Kikuyu Council of Elders.
Okay.
Remember, we're Africans, and what defines us is our cultures, is our heritage, is our traditions. And that's why I think this is the Heritage Month, or last month, it was Heritage Month. So it's very important for us to keep our cultures, to keep our heritage. Even when you move to another country, it's important for you to continue your culture.
Yes.
And you realize that our culture as Africans are the same. I mean, if you look at the Zulus, the Xhosas, you find that they have elements. They have councils of elders too.
Yeah.
So Mwakiwazania is a council of Kikuyu elders.
Okay.
And when you're born as a boy, a Kikuyu boy,
Yes.
there are stages you go through.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
And the final stages is that then you become a Kikuyu elder. And during our meetings that we hold every now and then, we talk about culture. It's about culture. It's how do you treat your family? How do you bring up your family? How do you deal with this? How do you do it? It is just to make sure that you grow into that straight man that we are supposed to do,
yes.
a person who is in charge of his family and a person who is taking care of his family. So it's teaching. There's nothing funny that happens there. It's actually teaching. You are made to be a good person.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Just before we shift to the gear, on the studio, I am with my co-hosters, Bwana Alan Kago and Bwana Paul Kagiri. We always host the show together.
Okay.
I would just like to welcome Mr. Kago to introduce himself and tell us, just add something, and also Mr. Paul Kagiri to add something before we shift to the next topic, where it's the main reason why Mr. B is here, is eyeing for the big seat in Kedesa. So welcome, Mr. Alan.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm Kuru Kago, and to touch a little bit about Kedasa, we in Free State region, we had our election on Monday, and we happened to elect.
Must say pongezi.
Thank you very
much. It was
much.
a very close race. You won.
It was a very tough one, you know, and the victory was sweet. And,
yes.
I want to echo what Mr. B is saying.
Yes.
I don't think Kedasa is more about us being leaders or the hunger for leadership.
Yes.
It's all about making change, you know. We have seen a vacuum that Kedasa was supposed to exploit in the last few years for our community, but it was not happening. So I was even having a conversation with Mr. B last night, and he told me, like, it's not about who is going to be the chairman. It's not about who is going to be in the top 9.
Yes.
It's all about whether in the next 2 years, is Kedasa going to deliver to the Kenyan? You can see in the WhatsApp group there is a lot of hunger. There is a lot of desperation from our citizens from Kenya.
Yes.
You know, they want proper leadership when it comes to the national Kedasa structure. And that's why we are here. And thank you very much, Mr. B, for coming to Cape Town. And I'm happy that we're having this podcast today. Thank you very much.
Asante. Mr. Paul Kagiri,
yeah.
Karibu.
Paul Kagiri, I'm one of the leaders in Cape Town. I would say that today we are privileged to have one of our leaders. And more to that, I would like to hear Mr. B, because we have seen him talk about how he can improve our livelihood here as community. He has also spoken up before about promoting cooperation as well. Yes. He has also mentioned about how he can qualify for us to do standards of good business. He also spoke about Kedasa, NWC, which should be expanded in the whole of South Africa. So those are the few things that I would like probably Mr. B to touch on.
Okay.
So that maybe we may understand.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paul Kagiri. And before we shift the gear to the next agenda, I would like to recognize one of the contestants contesting for the seat in Western Cape, Toili Wabomba. Karibu, wave to the viewers. Yeah, that's Mr. Toili. He's one of the leaders in Western Cape. And thank you for coming. We really want...
And my Nakuru homeboy.
Yeah.
Actually, the same village. Freehold.
Yeah. Yo mtasema nyuma ya tent. Okay. Sawa sawa. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Paul. Bwana Mr. B, you are eyeing for the highest seat in Kedesa. Why? What the need?
Because I feel we have had a leadership gap.
Okay. Yes.
You know, so we've had a leadership
yes.
gap in this country. Watu walikuja hapa, tulikuja hapa mbele ya Wasomali, tukakuja hapa mbele ya Waethiopia.
Yes.
wamekuja wametupita kama basi, tumesimama tu hapa.
Si stagnant.
Si tuko stagnant.
Yes.
Na ni kwa sababu hatujakuwa na servant leadership. Hatujakuwa na servant leadership.
Yes.
Na nikaona because sasa nina wakati biashara inaendelea mzuri.
Yes.
Nikaona sasa niko na time.
Yes.
Pengine ya kufanya kazi na watu.
Yes.
I have 4-point agenda.
Okay.
So I'll just give you the bullet form, then we can expand on them.
Okay.
The first one is to promote, to increase the number of Kenyans that have legal papers in South Africa, the number of Kenyans that are legally in South Africa. We
So
don't
that's
want
migration.
Immigration issues,
Okay.
that's one.
Okay.
The second one is livelihood improvement by promoting access to finance and economic opportunities. I will expound on that.
Okay.
The third one is closer cooperation between the High Commission,
Yes.
the State Department for Diaspora Affairs,
Okay.
and the central government, and us, Kenyans that are living here.
Okay.
And the fourth one is that KIDESA's NWC has excluded a lot of Kenyans, a lot of sectors. So
When
it
you
needs
say-
to be
When
reformed.
you say KIDESA NWC, for the viewer who might not understand, please tell us.
KIDESA National Working Committee.
Okay.
Wale watu watatu mlichagua kwa province. Wale watu mlichagua watatu kwa province.
Okay.
Wakikuja pamoja ndio inaitwa KIDESA National Working Committee, NWC.
So that means the chairman in the regional, the vice chair,
And the
rep.
NEC rep, wale watatu.
Okay.
Combine pamoja hiyo ndio NWC.
Okay.
Sasa ile NWC
Yes.
inapaswa kuongezeka.
Okay.
Tuongeze student, tuongeze professionals, tuongeze people with disability. It needs to be expanded. So those are my 4 points.
So that is your...
Sasa unataka tu expound ama zimetosha?
So, no, because of time, I'll take you a little bit back on your bio.
Okay.
You say that you were one of those Kenyans that were assisting the internally displaced Kenyans in Nakuru, Rift Valley, acquire land and property during the clashes,
Yes.
after clashes. So they were internally displaced. We call them internally displaced.
IDPs.
IDPs.
But it's not just IDPs, even other Kenyans.
Even other Kenyans.
Displaced.
Briefly, and the reason why I'm asking you to give us this narration or this story, we want to see the viewer to make a decision whether you are suit, whether you can borrow that vast knowledge and experience to what we actually experiencing here, because most of our Kenyans here, they have issues with immigration, the paper. Some of them are not able to go home properly in terms of visit Kenya and come back. In terms of issues that you spoke about is promotion and cooperation.
Yeah.
And I think the common 190 is more worried about the immigration a little bit and improving their livelihood.
Yes.
So just give us that narration of IDPs in Kenya, then we can come back to your agenda.
Okay, the post-election violence came when we were busy with other microfinance issues.
Yes.
And so let me start from what we were doing when the violence came in.
Okay.
We had this sacco that is still there. It's called Ebony Sacco. And what was happening there is that we were providing funding for people to improve their businesses.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden we realized that people were having problems and difficulties to repay their loans because they were spending a very huge part of their income to pay rent.
Okay.
Ukikumbuka Kenya zamani vile ilikuwa, tulikuwa na sacco zilikuwa za employee sacco.
Yes.
Teachers sacco, nurses, I don't know who zilikuwa za employees based.
Yes.
Watu wa biashara hawakuwa na sacco.
Yes.
Zilikuwa ni za walimu na watu wengine professionals.
Okay.
Sasa mtu wa biashara ambaye hawezi kupata pesa, hawezi kupata mkopo Barclays, alikuwa anaachwa wapi? Sasa tukatengeneza hizo microfinance institution.
Okay.
Now, so what we were doing in this sacco, after to realize that people have a problem of paying their loans because they are spending a lot of money in household, in paying rent, we said, okay, why don't we then make that a project also? So tulikuwa tunanunua shamba kama ni 10 acres.
Yes.
Inakuwa divided into 78 plots. watu wanapewa hizo plots, wanaambiwa umepewa mwaka moja ama miaka miwili. Like this, there was a particular one, tulikuwa tunauza hiyo plot 60,000 ya Kenya.
Okay.
Akilipa 3,000 anapiga fence na anaanza kujenga.
Okay.
Na unajua Kenya vile tunajengaga.
Yes.
Pale pembeni tunatengeneza kanyumba kama tope. Tukipata pesa tutakapiga simiti kanakuwa semi permanent.
Yes.
Lakini pale tumewacha space. Tutaanza kumwaga mawe pole na tutajenga kimansion.
Okay.
So that's what we were doing.
Yes.
Na haijaisha.
Still going on.
Kuna video nitakutumia, wamenitumia jana.
Okay.
Wanasema sasa wanataka tuweke street lights.
Wow.
So it's an ongoing thing.
Okay.
Wafanye street light. So we were doing those things.
You are doing that.
And then post-election violence
came.
And now we had to accommodate people and we had to stop the fight. Sababu kumbuka tukiwa pale kwa sacco, tuko na Wakalenjin ambao wanapigana na Wakikuyu. Those were still our members. And it was not good.
Yes.
Sasa mkikuja hata kwa sacco,
yes,
mnataka kuleta hizo vita. So we had to play a role in stopping the violence.
Okay.
And in settling people that were affected by the violence.
Yes.
Yeah, so we mobilized funds and across the world. And the then American ambassador to Kenya, Michael Renberger,
yes,
himself flew to Nakuru to hand over these funds to the people.
I must say I've seen a photo of you and him.
I don't know where they got that photo from.
I saw it on the official.
But they say internet doesn't forget.
Yes.
But yeah, it's true. That occasion happened in a place called Kabachia in Nakuru. That's where our offices were.
Okay.
And he came and handed over that donation to the people.
Okay. Now, with that vast amount of experience and knowledge, and you're eyeing for the seat of KEDESA, and this way now I bring in Mr. Alan Kago to just touch in something on, what do you assess of the situation?
Actually, for me, and I think the question is going to Mr. B here. Actually, it's not a question. It's just to say that what we are looking into KEDESA is somebody who can come in with such experience, you know. And as Mr. B said, it's not coming to KEDESA to make money, because I don't even think there is much money to make in KEDESA, because there's not even a salary or anything.
Okay, we're coming to spend.
Yeah,
you're coming to spend.
Yes, you're coming to spend, actually. And I believe with that experience, you know, you have in microfinance, the experience that you have in business, you know, the experience you have in the community, you know, not only here in South Africa, going way back even to Kenya with post-election violence and everything. I believe and I hope that the Kenyans can see who Mr. B is.
Yes.
Because I believe a lot of people, they haven't heard him talking, they haven't got a chance to hear him talk from the horse's mouth.
Yes.
And I believe this is a great opportunity, you know, from the things that he have covered on his bio, you can see this is a man that can bring the much needed change.
Yes.
That we are looking to in KEDESA, you know. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Bona Paul Kakiri, your sentiment, would you like to?
I would add something that Alan has spoken about him. You see, I think it's going to be very tough this time when people contest on top.
Yes.
Because you can hear what Mr. B is telling us today.
Yes.
What he has done, what he wants to do. So I think we have a leader who is having a lot of caliber.
Yes.
And I think this is what we are looking for. We
So
are looking for the experience.
You believe what you're saying, we need a man of the people. We need a man who is able to deliver those manifesto, the agenda point. And in the second segment, now is where we are going into depth, and we would like to give Mr. B the chance to really expand on how he is going to accomplish his manifestos on these 4 agendas, that is immigration, livelihood, expansion, that is in terms of helping Kenyan access funds, and the other one was, what was it? It was financial access and improve economic empowerment. Those 2 agendas, I think most Kenyans in South Africa, the common mwananchi, you know, the man down there, the man who is struggling like any other South African,
Yeah.
those two are the most important to him. The others come in now in the middle. Someone who has a car, someone who has a house in South Africa, and now these are now, the people now want to expand. Now, that's where now you come in again, and I really like your agenda. Now you're talking about promoting cooperation between the High Commission, diaspora, and the central government. That is a brilliant idea, and I really wish you to really expand on that. And then the most important thing, and now that bring now the issue of inclusivity and gender equality. Don't forget about the gender issue, which we need to really incorporate in the National Working Committee of KEDESA.
Yeah.
That's the fourth agenda.
Yes.
It's a brilliant ideas and vision that you have, and I'm wishing you the best.
And we need women reps there.
Women rep and people with technical know-how.
Yeah.
You know, because and this is what I've always been saying, even in my campaign as I'm contesting.
Yeah.
We need some, if it's an issue to do with migration.
Yeah.
Can we have a Kenyan who is a lawyer, who has dealt with issues to do with migration? I believe there are a number of Kenyans who are lawyers in South Africa who can practice in South Africa.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about treasury also, can we have someone, it doesn't have to be necessarily me, another accountant who is qualified as an accountant to deal with matter to, you know, compliance, issues of compliance and you know, legal matters in terms of Company Act. And the other issue, so those four agendas, when we take break, I think our time for the first segment is almost done. When we come back now, is when now we tackle these four agendas one by one.
Good.
We will be right back. Welcome back, and now we are going to tackle the issues of what Mr.B has spoken about briefly. And before we go to the main vision, your 4-point bulletin, I would like to ask you, since you have told us why you are vying for this seat, what synergy, if you win, hypothetically speaking, what synergy will you bring in with your new team? And will you be working as a team? I mean, just briefly, just touch on that.
Yeah, I intend to literally work with everybody.
Yes.
The people that will be in the NWC.
Okay.
The people that will not be NWC.
Yes.
We will have to work with everybody, whether they are religious people, whether they are business people, whether they are professional people. This thing, we are so backward that we need everybody on the ball.
On board.
Everybody on board, everybody on the ball.
All right. Thank you so much. Then the other point I would like you to touch on, because most Kenyans that are here, the common mwananchi again, they believe the Kenya High Commission only deals with consular services. Could you just explain to us in a common layman's language what the embassy does? Although you don't work for the embassy, but I'm sure
I know their mandate.
Yes, you have really dealt with them, and you understand the most of the aspects, so that the common mwananchi, the Kenyan living in South Africa, then they understand and they see the need for KEDESA and how KEDESA will work for them.
The High Commission is actually the government in here.
Okay.
Consular service is just a small section of the embassy.
Yes.
So otherwise, it's the government. You know, there are people that are looking after education. There are people that are looking after trade. There are people that are looking after even security.
Yes.
So there are all sorts of people there. So when you hear and you have issues to do with education, there's an education attaché there.
Yes.
If you have issues to do with security, there's a security attaché. You know, there's a trade attaché. There's so many people that are working there that have different things. So when you see that embassy, it's a government, and that is why when Tusker was stuck in Zambia, where do I go? I go to the government.
Okay.
So I went to the embassy, and the embassy had to call the Kenyan High Commission in Zambia to intervene because the problem was in Zambia. So these guys are there for that kind of a thing. So usikuwe mnakufa huko na problems.
So actually what you're saying,
unangojeaga tu embassy kuje kupeana documents.
Yes.
They have a lot of other things that they can help.
Okay.
Na kitu kimoja we agreed, and maybe I'll talk about that
yes.
When we're dealing with business. What thing we have agreed with the High Commission? Zile biashara za Kenya ziko hapa. Wataweka link into the website.
Okay.
So that if you're looking for a certain thing, kutoka kwa Kenyan businesses.
Yes.
Then you click into that link kwa website ya High Commission.
Yes.
Na inakupeleka to the website of that company.
All right.
So that will also be a way of advertising or promoting Kenyan businesses that are based here.
Okay. And now, before again, there's something that has popped in. I'm just trying to prepare the viewer on the matters of the agenda. Why would you say the current regime in Kidasa has failed? What are the issues that maybe were not done properly? And what are the issues you as the incoming, again, hypothetically speaking, saying that you're going to win, and I'm wishing you all the best, you win, that you do differently? What will you do differently?
Maybe I can talk about what I would do.
Don't speak about what you do. Speak about what was not done so that we can come to your agenda.
I think if I may be very truthful,
yes.
I think the only thing I see, because remember I was in the first Kidesa that was set up by Dr. Shomba.
Okay.
And there is what we agreed is the direction of the institution that will go.
Okay.
When the second regime was elected, they never took that line. They never took that road. And I don't know what has been done because I was among the people that were chased there. But what I know, what I can see was done, and is true. The initial Kidesa was focused around Gauteng. I mean, we had to start somewhere. We could not start including people here when we didn't know them. Remember, tupo tunajuana. So ilifanywa pale Johannesburg.
Yes.
Na kitu kimoja ambaye this outgoing regime ilifanya, ili expand. Sasa tuko na watu wa Cape Town, tuko na watu wa KZN, tuko na watu wa Free State. At least that expansion.
That was led by Kamato.
That was done by Kamato. So, and it's good we give them credit on that.
All right.
About what they didn't do, they never brought us together.
It's a failure.
It's a failure. So we never addressed the challenges.
Yes.
Because you see, when people meet and identify their challenges, then the challenges are halfway done. They are halfway solved. Okay. We're just people meeting and identifying, this is our challenge.
Yes.
It's half done. So that done. I don't think that was done.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's go to your vision. And the first point you mentioned, or the first point you really want to expand on, is the issue of immigration. Yeah. What will your leadership do on immigration?
First, I want to approach it from the back.
Okay.
And say that I have 4-point agenda.
Yes.
So there is immigration, there is cooperation with the government,
yes.
There is expanding the NWC.
Yes.
But out of my 4 agenda, the most important agenda is the second agenda. Promoting access to finance,
okay,
and economic
opportunities. Let's start on that one.
And because that's
I think that's what most Kenyans want.
Kumbukeni tumekuja hapa kutafuta.
Ni kweli?
Tumekuja kutafuta hapa.
Yes.
Na sababu tumekuja kutafuta hela. So kama unafanya biashara na hauna access to finance,
yes.
Huwezi kupata kaloni ka kuexpand biashara. Ama huwezi kupata a business opportunity ndio uweze kuiendesha na uweze kupata ajira. If we don't have those 2 things, hata ukipewa hiyo immigration haitakusaidia. And me, what I know, if tunaweza kuimprove biashara za watu, tuweze kuimprove their economic well-being, empowerment economically, watu watakuwa na ability hata ya kwenda kwa Home Affairs aseme niko na access ya 5 million,
I have a property,
niko na property, niko na hii, munipatie business permit ama business PR.
Yes.
That's really where I want us to focus on. Because of this, ukiangalia kama, wacha niseme vile wa China wanafanya.
Okay. The Chinese.
Yes, the Chinese. Wanafanya hivi. They have their own financial institutions that operate here and operate in China and operate in every other country. So when a Chinese migrant comes here, ama before even he comes here, zile financial institution anawekewa ile 5 million. Ni show money. Alafu anafanya application yake ya business PR ama business permit. Akisha submit application ikikuwa processed, ile pesa anarudisha tena na interest. Hatumii
It doesn't
pesa ni
use
show money.
Okay.
Hakuna kama zingine unaitumia. Inaenda kwa mwingine na mwingine inazunguka kwao na bado wanaendelea
So this is an empowerment. It's a
This
sacco.
is something that is happening.
Yes.
That is something. Kuna Mchina who has just bought a liquor store that I supply to in Johannesburg.
Yes.
And he just came last year and he has all these papers. So I asked him, how did you do it?
Because when you empower people, what you're saying actually, if our people are empowered, they can own business.
Yes.
Because and this what happened is that you look, they try small business, they are not working.
Yeah, they're not.
And now they can't expand. But if they are, and then remember they're foreigners in this country.
Yeah.
The bank will not give them the loans.
They do not talk to you.
So I think our Kenyan government must open their eyes and see that they need to empower the Kenyans. Because again, Kenyan in diaspora remit a lot of foreign exchange back to Kenya.
Yeah, lakini PK,
Yeah.
tukisema Kenya itu empower,
Yeah.
hawa jamaa wanakujia tax. Wanakujia tax.
Okay.
Sisi wenyewe
To empower
we will
ourselves.
have to empower ourselves. Sisi wenyewe will have to empower ourselves. Na mimi kama Mr.B, to me strengthening institutions kama Harambee Sacco,
Okay.
to me would be more important than even what we are doing here in Kidesa. Strengthening the sacco.
Then why not open a sacco?
Expanding, whether you're going to open another one or you're going to strengthen this.
Yes.
And I know tunakuwaga na mambo ya trust issues.
Yes.
We like sana kutupiana matope ya trust issues. My suggestion would be this, that we need to create a sacco. Either we strengthen this one that we already have, or we create another one. Sijui mtasema tufanye nini. But this is how I would look at it. Mumechagua to address trust issue, because easy trust issues ndio zinafanyaga we are not going anywhere. You have elected 3 people in every province.
The NWC.
NWC.
Yes.
From every province.
Yes.
Let's take, for example, to say we want to strengthen Harambee. For example. Yeah. To deal with trust issues, hao watu watatu mmechagua in every province. Wakuja wafanywe directors wa Harambee. Wakifanywa directors wa Harambee, kama ni watu wa Western Cape, hao watatu mmechagua ambaye wamefanywa directors wa Harambee na ndio mlichagua kama your representative.
Yes.
Waende kwa bank, wafungue account ya Harambee ya Western Cape.
Ya Western Cape.
Pesa yenu muweke hapo. Amulete Jobaga.
Okay.
Free State wafanye the same. KZN, the people that
Eastern Cape,
all
over.
Yes, exactly.
Pumalanga,
exactly.
All Kenyans all over.
Exactly. Because remember now, when tukifanya hivyo, this is we want to create a cooperative bank. That's what tunataka kuunda bank hapa.
Okay.
Na hiyo mambo ya bank ndio ilifanya tukapigana na hii Kidesa ya zamani. Wakati nilisema no, we must create a bank.
Yeah.
Nikaanza kupigiwa hapo.
Okay.
And I still insist we must create this bank. Tukifika watu 200 na watu 200 wako na shares ya 1 million, tutaweza kuregister something in South Africa that is called Cooperative Financial Institution, CFI.
CFI, okay.
Okay? Na CFI sasa ndio uko na ile full sacco registration. Hiyo ndio ile tunaitaga sacco kwetu.
Okay.
Okay? Register CFI. 200 people, 1 million. Kutoka hapo, we grow that sacco to a point where itafika 10 million in shares. 200 people or more with 10 million or more in shares. Tukifika hapo, then we can now transform the CFI to a cooperative bank.
Okay.
That will be a bank now.
That will be a bank.
It will be a bank. There are few, there are about 7 or so in South Africa. That will be a bank. Na tukiwa hivyo sasa our people have access to finance. Tuta guarantee each other. Kama sio guarantee each other, because it's already registered na iko na,
if it's a bank you can give a security.
Utapeana security.
Yes.
Unaona?
Yeah.
Na hutaitishwa hivi vitu vingine mingi, naitishagwa wapi permit yako, wapi sijui wapi nini, those things. So people will have access to finance. And when people have access to finance, then we can now start saying, okay, now you have finance. Okay? What business opportunities
are there?
And I'm telling you, this country and
Still
Africa
ground.
in general is full of opportunities.
The opportunities.
Is only that, and I see them. Na pengine tukishamalizana na hii mambo ya Kidesa,
yes,
wakati tumesettle down,
yes,
I would want us to have forums kama hizi where we are talking businesses. How do you start a business? What factors do you consider when you're starting a business?
Yes.
Where should you start a business? Unaona?
Yes, yeah.
Those opportunities.
Yeah?
Na tusilale jamani, mliona ile kitu niliwaekea leo asubuhi ambapo KRA na KEBS.
KEBS, the Kenya Bureau of Standards.
Yes.
Yes.
Wanaongea na wa South Africa, wanawapia tips ya standards. If you want to import from Kenya, this is the standard. Kuna watu walileta hapa avocado, lakini hawakujua wanajua standard za South Africa.
And now, on that point, I think KEDESA needs to be strong. The leader, the chairman, the one that has the vision of the organization, has to be able to have negotiating skills to negotiate and channel all that kind of opportunity to deal with KEDESA. Because I think, why not us? Why
Yes,
not KEDESA?
and how I see it is that it's not even the chairman. The NWC must have committees, working committees.
Working
So we
committees.
should have a committee that is dealing with trade and those kind of things.
Okay.
Another committee that's dealing with migration and like specifically.
Yeah.
And why we are saying we must expand this NWC so that we also bring in people with skills, resource,
Knowledge, yeah.
Knowledge.
Yes.
So if we are talking, if kama tuna kamati ya immigration, then we need an immigration lawyer there. We need an immigration lawyer.
Yes.
Tukikuja kwa trade, hapa tunaongea mambo ya import export. We need somebody yako na knowledge ya customs na those kind of things.
Yeah.
So to me that's a nutshell. That's really where we need to be. We need to concentrate on economic empowerment.
Of our people.
Tukifanya economic empowerment, these other small issues of immigration, tutapata njia. Tushimo ni tungi sana. Nimekupea kamoja. I've given you one.
People are empowered.
Yeah.
The issue of immigration will become manageable.
It's manageable.
Yes.
It's manageable.
Because we still need to adhere with the law and the regulation of the country. Of the country. Because this is an autonomous country. It's on its own.
Yes.
And we are not South African.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we can still work within the framework of law.
Of the law.
Yes.
So coming back to the sacco, sacco now we create a fund. Watu wachukue loans, wafanya mabiashara, lakini pia to create a fund ya show money. Unatakiwa 5 million. Na unajua 5 million hata ikuagi cash.
It's in asset.
It's in asset, it's in anything. Is a chartered accountant akuja aseme, this guy can access 5 million.
Okay.
Like you said, KEDESA can access 100 million.
and I said can.
Meaning
because there's a lot of donor funding. There's a lot of funding for investment. Hata hapa kwenyu hapa kuna kampuni inaitwa Symbiotic. Wako hapa based in Cape Town.
Okay.
Wanatufund mpaka huko Kenya from here Cape Town. Okay. Symbiotic.
Bwana Kagiri, you want to add something on the issue of immigration before I request Alan also to add something and we shift to the next agenda?
I think I would just add on what Mr.B has said.
Yes.
When he spoke about the empowerment of us. We just need a good leadership that actually will create a desired impact that will now counter all these issues that we have at the moment as a community.
Yes.
Let me add something else that KEDESA, I feel it should do. Tumeongea mambo economic empowerment.
Yes.
We in agreement. When we come to things kama migration, sometimes inasikizaga wa Kenya unasikia kama juzi last week nimepigiwa simu na Mkenya ambaye amefika kwa airport, ameambiwa ako na overstay, uwezi ingia. As much as that is the law, kitu moja tunapaswa kujua ni kuwa the Kenya High Commission can ask to see any South African cabinet minister. They can go to Mswaledi, they can go to Home Affairs and raise your issue. Wewe, fire ya cargo, fire ya nani, fire huyu.
Because it's government.
It's government. They can raise those.
Yes.
But it is KEDESA that will have to push this High Commission. Kumbuka watu wameandikwa kazi, wako na mshahara. Si ati wamekungojea wewe. Sasa wewe ndio utapeleka your issues huko.
Yeah.
Tuweke pressure.
Yes.
Tuseme hapa tuna these 5 files. Watu waangaliliwe mambo yao.
Okay.
And you see, as I said, I keep saying, Kenyans have a very good name in South Africa.
Yeah.
Do you know we have the highest, if not one of the highest, visa allocation into South Africa from any African country?
Is it?
Yes. They look at us very favorably.
Okay.
Lakini sisi we are unable to convert that to our advantage. We are unable to do that. And so those are the things that create.
When you say we are unable to do that, I think the issue is that our people are not empowered and we need forums. KEDESA should pray the Lord of educating our people and more like civil education, forums. We don't have a forum. Previously we never had a forum, and that's why we called you to the forum, so that you can educate our people, let the people know they say knowledge is power. You know, once you have the knowledge and that information is power. Once you have the information, then you can be able to use it.
You're empowered.
And to empower yourself.
Yes.
And I don't want to dwell so much on that point. I think you have really done well in expanding. Only that
lakini pale nitaka kusema pale kwa immigration.
Yes.
KIDESA will have to form a committee.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to tackle that under immigration, under the agenda of immigration. Right. And Alan, you okay, or you want to?
You know what? Just to add on what Mr. B said.
Yes.
PK, I don't know whether you have even noticed that majority of Kenyans and majority of Kenyans visas that we get in this country in terms of permits are not like a business permit. They are relative permits because that is the cheapest way of getting to be legal here.
Yes.
And the only permit you can get without any kind of show money.
But that permit
what Mr. B is saying, if you go to the Chinese nations, for them they don't go for those permits because they have government which can come and put some money aside as a show money, as he's saying, and then you end up qualifying for...
And you see, now, and this is so wrong, because we are in Africa, and Africans, we are not empowering ourselves. Because when you're given a relative permit, that permit has restrictions. You can't work, you can't find work. And mostly Kenyans, because the show will be seen by many, but I just want to say Kenyans. Most Kenyans don't come here to be employed. They come here to create employment. Is that not so? So if you are given a relative permit, it restricts you. You cannot expand.
Actually, they don't even come here to make, you know, a relative permit is a family permit.
It's a family.
So you come here with your family, but now the only way you can get a permit is getting another family.
So anyway, you wanted to say something?
No, okay. I'm done.
So anyway, now Mr. B, let us tackle the issue of immigration. What will your leadership help Kenyans on this matter?
I think we will have to come up. Then the KIDESA NWC. And unaona mimi narudi pale kwa NWC.
Yes.
And I want to tell the 31 people that watachaguliwa kwa NWC.
Yes.
Hii gari tunasukuma sisi wote. Hii gari si ati ni ya chairman ama ya secretary general. Tunasukuma, we are that one drivers pale ndani.
Yes.
And it's very important. KIDESA will have to form a specialized committee that will assist Kenyans to access legal papers. Ile shida kubwa naonaga hapa, first of all, as you said, is lack of information. So you don't know which permit, you don't know how to apply it, you don't know where to apply it, you don't know what is the process. Na saa ingine tunakataga tu kusoma kwenda kusoma website.
I think it's because you know, the information and the forms, you know, some people don't like reading.
You know, now KIDESA will have to have an office. It will have to have staff. And people will have to call in and say, okay, I have this problem. And we have to see how it has to be helped. People have to be helped. Kuna watu wako kwa villis, watu wako na overstay. Kuna watu wako na Makwere. And you know you can move from Makwere to a permit. You know that. So, but they don't have this information. So we need to give people information. Kuna watu hawajui kama sasa structure ya Home Affairs. Unaona ukiapply permit hapa, na mimi niende ni apply permit Nairobi. Ya Nairobi itatoka mbele. Because Home Affairs wako na full department. Wako na full department inadirigi na foreign applications.
Yes.
You permit yako itatoka faster kule than hapa. People don't know this information. So I think the first thing that will have to be done is people will have to be given information. That's why we need a specialized committee. The second thing is that we will have to do an audit of our people. Ni nani hana chochote, nani ana nini, nani yako na shida gani? Because now we are just talking about papers, but now like what? Who has a problem? What is the problem? We will have to have this data bank of what are we dealing with. Then from there, then we can see, okay, how can this be solved? How can this be solved?
So what you're saying, you need to have an operation, kind of an office that is operating.
Yes. And it's picking data.
Picking data with employees.
Yes.
And then for you to do that, I would assume then the issue now comes again. You can't do that without funds.
Yes.
Now where do you start?
I think funds to me is the easy thing.
Is it?
Yes.
Remember the previous regime never had funds.
Let me first of all say this. As far as I know, Kidesa doesn't have funds. Na wale watu wanapigania hii uchaguzi, ujue kama unatoka Cape Town na unatoka wapi, utakuwa unapanda ndege na pesa yako.
Yes.
Utakuwa unalipa hoteli na pesa yako. Hii kitu haina hela. Haina anything.
Nothing.
Na hakuna ati watu wanaendaka mikutano kwa high commission ati mnapewa allowance. Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. There is no money there na hakuna pesa utakuwa unapewa. You will be using your funds because Kidesa haina hela. Haina funds. But then if Kidesa can structure itself, it can deliver real change. Let's say you are helping illegal migrants to become legal.
Legal, yes.
You know, there are funds. There is the International Council for Refugees. There are funds. The UN has funds for those things.
Okay.
You know, it has funds for those things.
Yeah. Sure.
But then you must show value that this is what we are doing. Kumbuka kuna watu wanapewa hizi permit za refugees. That international body ambayo inapeana hizo papers ina support hiyo mambo. See, it's a UN body.
Yes, the UN body. Yes.
Sasa wakiambiwa, if we structure ourselves na tuwaambie sasa hawa watu mmepea makwere hawa. Sasa we want to change them to legal. And because Kidesa is an NPO. Is an NPO, is it?
Yeah, it's an NPO.
It's a non-profit organization.
And what you call community-based organization.
There's a lot of donor funding out there for structured programs. Sio pesa ya kuja kukuliwa hapa.
Yes. You need to show the roadmap of how to use the funds.
And it has to work.
And it has to work.
It has to work. People need to be assisted. So if Kidesa can come up with those structures,
yes,
that is one. For example, your papers that you are helping legal migrants to get legal. You get 2-3 donors that will fund that.
Yes.
Ukuje useme hapa tena, you want to provide business training to our mama mbogas.
Okay.
The small businesses, right? So if you have that kind of a program you're running, they're donor funding for that. So Kidesa can get funds based on, is it delivering change?
So what you're saying in a nutshell, funding is not a problem.
That's it, is the easiest thing. The biggest thing is come up with a structure that works. Yes.
Something that
is helping people.
You can execute them,
yes,
whatever you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. Well, on the issue, I don't know, Bonakagiri, we'll give you a chance. You want to expand something on the issue of migration?
On the funding, or is it funding?
And there's also something I want to add on immigration.
Yes.
That is connected again to the economic empowerment.
Yes.
There are so many Kenyan companies that are operating here. And there can be a deliberate effort to provide jobs to Kenyans. And that might be a way of them getting illegal.
Now, when you say that, and remember we're in South Africa, and I'll just put it there, and South Africa is struggling with employment. Does it sit very well with the government here? Remember South Africans themselves, they are struggling with employment. So if us are empowering ourselves, how do we sit now? Anyway, we can't progress because of someone else's problems.
But you do what I do. You mix and match.
Yes.
So I have several South Africans working for me.
So it also brings value to the indigenous people.
And Peter, just to add on that, remember, a poor Kenyan here is much of a burden even to a South African than a Kenyan who is having something in the pocket.
Yes.
And a Kenyan who is empowered, it's of more benefit even to the community here.
Okay. Yeah. We are running out of time. Okay. And I just want you to briefly touch on NWC. I think you have done that, and promotion or cooperation between the High Commission and diaspora. Just touch those briefly, because there's something I really want you to touch before we close.
What I mean by that is that Kenyans need to know what the High Commission does.
Yes.
and we need to know how, we need to have structured engagement.
Okay.
Kama ni mambo ya consular, ama ni mambo ya biashara, it needs to be we need to have very close cooperation.
Okay.
We need to talk to them a lot.
So basically,
we also need to talk to the State Department for Diaspora Affairs.
Yes.
They need to know we're here, they need to know our challenges, and we talk to the government itself. We need to talk, mambo yetu lazima yanafika State House. Na tunafanya hivyo. We have MPs friends, we have governors friends, you know, so
okay.
we need to promote that.
Okay. I think the issue of NWC you have touched. Let me not do that. Yeah. Let's not go touch there. Now, on KEDESA WhatsApp group, WhatsApp group, there were some allegations. And since you are going to occupy public office, just say something about that. You know, no one is...
First, they're all lies.
Okay.
And these are people I don't know, and they are people who don't even know me.
Okay.
I don't know who is sponsoring that, but they are all lies. I'll send you a video from that circle.
Okay.
The circle they're talking about. First of all, it's not a dead circle. It's an operating circle.
Okay.
And yesterday they did a video, and they are asking us for help to put street lights.
All right.
You will hear, they will tell you. They will tell you. I will give you the video. You will listen from the beneficiaries.
I think we also upload the video.
Yeah. So it's all lies. There's
okay.
nothing like that.
All right.
There's nothing like that. It's
okay.
all lies.
Now, you are vying for the seat. 2 minutes, omba kura. Or support me.
Mi nasema, thank you. What I'm saying is, for so long, tumekuwa hapa kama wa Kenya with no direction. Tumekuwa leopards, everybody hunting on their own. And in the process, we have very few kills. I want us to change from now, going forward, to a lions. We hunt together, and we will increase the kills. So we have not had a very people servant leadership, and that is the leadership I want to bring in, plus the team that I'm going to work with. And my message to the NWC is not just about position. Let's not fight about position. Let's fight with ideas. How can we bring real change to Kenya? Thank you very much.
Okay, that's it. We thank you, Mr. B, for coming to the forum and sharing with us your vision and what you have done. We are really privileged to have you here. And karibu sana. Once you go back to Joburg, salimiana. And we are really happy. Well, that was it with me, PK, from Diaspora TV SA. Just like Uncle Jack says, this is PK signing off. See you in the next episode. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh God of all creation, bless this our land.